Hey everyone, it's Tom Seymour from VHS Massacre.
Just wanted to do a quick update for y'all who are interested in independent filmmaking and things like that. I try to make videos that it's definitely talking about what I'm doing with feature-length, low-budget independent filmmaking, but I try to hopefully make the videos entertaining enough and informational enough for those who are aspiring to be independent filmmakers. So I have a few projects going on. I want to sort of address one thing that had happened. So I made an announcement that my newest feature-length documentary, American Expendables, it's about direct-to-video action stars like Billy Blanks and Cynthia Rothrock, and it stars Lloyd Kaufman, Debbie Rochon, James Richardson, John Brennan from The Last Drive-In, myself, and Tim Kulig. With an interview with Cynthia Rothrock. So I made an announcement that it's being distributed through MVD Group, which is a great distributor. I have 3 other films out with them. So this will be my 4th feature-length film being distributed by MVD. But this is actually the newest, like the other films that I did a feature-length horror film called Exorcism of Fleet Marish. And that was sort of like a director's cut horror film of a film that I had put out over 10 years ago. So it was a ground-up recut with a new score in black and white, new footage. So, it wasn't quite new, But NVD did a great job on the Horror Central alone. 132,000 people streamed that. So I would think web-wide, hopefully it cracked 1 million. But for the last decade, my films have been distributed by Troma Entertainment, which many of you know have the big-budget Toxic Avenger film coming out by Legendary Pictures that has, Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, and Peter Dinklage in it. And I was very happy having my films put out by Troma. They're the longest running independent film studio in the United States. And my documentaries, VHS Massacre and VHS Massacre 2, basically that really put me on the map. I mean, I started making independent films as a teenager, really, and basically took me till I was in my 40s to basically be known, like really. And so the VHS Massacre documentaries, the 2 of those together have won over 30 awards, and they are, I think, considered by most to be, together probably the most popular VHS documentary on the subject. Rewind This, I suppose, would be the one movie that could edge out that. And the ironic thing about that is we all were filming at the same time. I think it's like a gesture tracking, VHS Massacre, Rewind This. I could be wrong. I have to look at the dates. But we had been shooting for 6 months when Rewind This premiered at South by Southwest. So it was just 2 of us making it. So we just were slower, we among that batch of VHS movies, ours was we started at the same time as everyone else, like 2012, 2013, but it just took us a little while to get it out. But anyway, all that to say, Troma, I'm very proud to have my films put out through Troma. My film career has been a very sort of long journey. I suppose I was sort of delusional in my youth, thinking that we could be some sort of like Wes Anderson or like Matt Damon, Ben Affleck sort of thing. Like our first 16mm feature-length film was called Everything Was Alone, and it was like a comedic drama, and had no stars in it, and the New York Times trashed it. Film Threat liked it, but that kind of ruined any distribution deal. So so after that, I basically loved Troma movies so much. I was like, well, I don't want to be pushed out of the industry. And, I wanted to be a filmmaker. So I was like, I'll do like a sort of Troma style movie. So that's that movie we did, Fountain of Death, or Land of College Prophets is the American name for it. And that actually ended up being a hit. But, it wasn't it wasn't distributed by Troma. It's distributed by York Entertainment. But so years went by. I never got to work with Troma, and then I got the idea to do this VHS Massacre doc because a lot of the video stores in New York City were closing down, and I was trying to put a movie out at the same time. I was trying to put Mark of the Beast out on the shelves, and it got on the shelf at Kim's Video, and then Kim's Video went under, and then the last Blockbuster Video in New York City went under, and so, but Troma put out those movies, and like I said, really, really put me on the map. And I also did a series for them called Monster Kill, and even a short they put out called MacLeod, about the composer Kevin MacLeod. And so, like, it was, 2 feature films, 1 series, and 1 short. And basically I submitted American Expendables to Troma to have them try to distribute it, and they looked at their calendar for the year, and they just didn't see being able to put it out that year. And so they declined it, which was kind of a shock at the time, because at that point it had been, I think, about 9 years, better part of a decade I had my films put out through them. And, Lloyd Kaufman wished me luck, and I told him I was thinking about putting it out through MBD, and he's like, he's like, awesome, yes, cool. He was all about it. But I think there is something sad about this for me, because, I was kind of making movies for Troma, for that audience. And, Troma didn't ask for them. I just made them and then said, do you want this, But this is a point where I did that again with American Expendables, and they just didn't want it. And so you're making a product for a distribution company that doesn't want your product, and so obviously that it's kind of done. Like, I'm not going to make another movie for them. That doesn't make any sense, So I think that the decision was just like, well, what do I do with this film? And MVD had done a really good job on my re-releases, and so that was the decision to go with MVD. I mean, could I have shopped it around to see other companies, see if they wanted to bite on it? Yeah, I could, but one of the benefits of MVD is that if you get in with that company, they do revenue splits, like real revenue splits. It's not like we need to recoup, $50,000 and then we'll start splitting revenue. It's pretty much right away. There's a very small amount of money, depending on which tier you choose. And you can choose, if you choose the lowest tier, there's almost no recoup, But if you choose it one tier up, they'll do some footwork, and marketing and work on it. So, for those people out there who are interested in making feature-length films and then not quite knowing what to do with them, and you don't want to just put it on YouTube because that may not be the exact right fit you know, unless you can get in with a large channel, you know. Like Horror Central has a very large YouTube channel, but I had to go through a distributor to get on that platform. And so that's what a film distributor can do for you, is get you on, take care of that stuff for you. So for instance, Exorcism of Fleet Marish went on Tubi, it went on Prime, it went on Plex. Like I said, Horror Central, and probably like a half a dozen other cool platforms like FlixFling and IndiePix, and Night Flight. I think it got on Night Flight, and so they can do a lot of that footwork for you. And a lot of these large streaming platforms, you can't really go there with an individual film. It's very hard to do that. You like MVD can do it because they'll give a batch of like 100 films to something like Tubi or you know, Plex or something, and then they can negotiate for a deal that way. And same thing with like even Horror Central, I'm sure. Like they buy streaming sites will buy in bulk a lot of the times, and so that being part of a distributor will get you that way. Whereas if you try to go direct to your audience, that's difficult unless you're someone like the Angry Video Game Nerd, who was in a few of my films. I'm sorry, he was in VHS Massacre 2. He made a movie, and I think for the most part he was able to go direct to audiences and do like I think he had a Vimeo paywall for his movie. And I'm sure they did, you know, pretty well. And so if you have a big enough audience, you can do it. That's part of the thing I've been doing too lately, is brand building. This is something that Lloyd Kaufman told me about, is that with independent filmmaking, you not only have to make the film yourself and market the film yourself, but you, at this point, in 2024, you really need a brand. And so I've been building the VHS Massacre brand out, which is this sort of YouTube show I do. It's also on Instagram and TikTok, and it's all the accompanying films. So the VHS Massacre films are all the films that I've talked about, and then you know, social media across TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and even Threads if you count that. And so I think I've cracked the 20K follower mark across all those. If I count my individual social media, sorry about that, my alarm's going off. If I count my personal social media, I get up to about the 25,000 follower mark, which is pretty significant, but it's not you know, you just get the feeling that everyone has that nowadays. But what can you do? You gotta build your brand and get the word out there. So for any of you who are interested in this kind of stuff, you can throw me a comment in YouTube or whatever if you have any questions about this kind of this stuff. If you're interested in about like the nuts and bolts of how to make a no budget feature, no budget meaning like basically a $10,000 and under feature-length film, I have a YouTube series called the $500 Feature. If you look on my channel in the playlist, you'll see all the videos about that, and it goes through the different types of movies you can make and how to make them. So anyway, we hit the film festival circuit with American Expendables. That's another thing you can do as well. Even if you don't have distribution, what you could do is sign up on Film Freeway and enter film festivals. If you can, enter minimum of 20. I've entered as much as 60 film festivals, I believe, on some of my films. And it's two factors. It's a numbers game. The more festivals you enter, the more you will get into, the more you will win. but it's also selecting film festivals that to match your film, a type of film that they will play at their festival, and then also not wasting your money on corporate film festivals. So something like Sundance or Tribeca, these are not real film festivals. These are corporate events that the studio system puts on to show off their films. And there's not even that much selling these days at those film festivals. You know, it's not even that much buying. So I would avoid all of. You can get into those. The friends that I know that have gotten into Sundance, for example, had representation. So basically, having a powerful agent, you are then in that ecosystem, and then the agent thinks they can make money off you in the film. That's sometimes called a producer's rep if they're just repping the film. And because of that, if they think they can make money off of that, they can get you into that film festival. But the days of entering cold into Sundance and getting in, I've never heard of that happening for anyone. I heard about, I was talking with someone who got into Tribeca, and lo and behold, when I really got into the details, they knew someone over there at Tribeca. So it's definitely not a fair game. But that being said, I've gotten into some pretty big film, and I've even won. San Francisco Indie Fest has this genre fest called Another Hole in the Head. I won there. I won at World Fest Houston, Chicago Horror, Cannes World. I think it was called Vancouver Horror Show. I've won over 50 awards, and the reason why I'm telling you that is it's just a numbers game. That's over the course of a 25-year plus career. So the more you enter, the more you win. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. Hopefully this is helpful. If you are curious about any of the films, they're streaming pretty much everywhere except Netflix. I only had one or two films that was on Netflix. Land of College Prophets was one of the earliest films on Netflix, but it's no longer there. But you can get them pretty much everywhere else. So anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.